Hey guys, it's V-Man from No Budget Productions, and with me today is my good friend Jim Bray. Jim, how are we doing, my friend?
Too early to tell, but I'm enthusiastic.
You're here. That's about all we could say. That's
Yep, I'm more of a night owl, so
I understand that, man. I get it, man. It's a little too early for me. That's why I got my my
well,
cup of Joe, and that's it. That's it.
stay hydrated, my friend.
There you go. There you go. So with us in the chat today, we've got William Wells, who says, hello, birthday boy is here. I'm 50 years old today. Well, happy birthday,
Happy
William.
birthday! Nice.
Bill, if you come over to the house, I got a spanking for you. And,
Kinky.
Hey, I'm into everything. It's all good. It's all good.
You'll pardon me if I snack while we're talking. I'm very Tony Stark in that regard.
Dude, you're not the only one who has. Like, I've had a lot of food on the show. Ironically enough, I've never had pizza rolls on the show. Other people have, because they're like, hey, we're doing it. And I'm like, I never have. But it's eat as much as you want, man. It's all good.
Snack today is beef jerky. So
there you go, dude. I wish I was in your
80 pounds since I started this whole thing.
What's that now?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I've dropped a ton of weight. The beard is kind of hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my clothes are hanging on me.
See, I need to go on your diet. I need to go on yours then, because
it's called diabetes.
I get it. I was kind of tiptoeing.
Trulicity shots are amazing. They make you drop weight that you're not hungry anymore. It's great.
Mm-hmm. See, I was kind of tiptoeing that line of like, am I going to or am I not? But I had to start. The pendulum was kind of swinging this way on the weight gain, and the doctor's like, look, you're walking that. So I was like, all right, let's start. I had to cut back on the pizza, so I get it.
And the pizza rolls. So
there you go.
So now what I do is I tend to graze all day. I just nibble all day.
Mm-hmm.
Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat when you're not. And don't stress eat.
See, that's two things I do. I eat when I'm hungry. I eat when I'm bored, and then I gorge, because the chemical in my brain doesn't tell me to stop, and that's the biggest thing. So
it's like eat until you go. Oh, what do I do?
That's exactly it.
That's bad.
That's exactly it.
I nibble. I drink a ton of water.
See, and water, that's the biggest thing. Like water, like most people don't realize that they're not hungry. They're just they're thirsty. They're dehydrated. And then like if you get water with a bunch of ice and you're satisfying that eating thing that you need,
you crunch on the ice.
Exactly. That usually will take care of itself.
Oral fixation.
Exactly.
So many jokes, all of them indecent.
I was gonna say, are we still talking about food here, or are we talking about the spanking for Bill on his birthday?
I want to apologize for this shot. It's like an episode of Batman going on here. I don't.
If Biff bang and boom, man, it's all good. It's
there
all
we
good.
go. That's a little better.
So Scott Johnson says, "Happy day to you, Bill. You youngin." And Bill says, "Hey, Scott." And Scott says,
I'm always going for the
Dutchie
shot here.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. So you, like we were saying before the show, I've known you for years. We used to work on Starship Challenger, which was a Star Trek fan film. But when the guidelines came out, you were and you had, what was it, 3 episodes, I think, written? You had the first one kind of started to shoot.
Well, we had we've continued with the original plan, which was it was going to be Star Trek anthology, actually. And that was going to be an umbrella under which we were going to do Challenger, Sweepers, which was kind of an original concept, and we were going to do Assignment Earth.
Right.
And I mean, I already had the cast of I already had the role of Isis cast, as you can see.
Right.
So we were good to go, but then the guidelines dropped, and that threw a big old monkey wrench into everything. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I am not going to mess with the possibility of litigation. I am not going to go down that road. I am not going to pull that. So after a lot of hand wringing and fretting and several bottles of whiskey, we all sat down, me and my team, and we had a good long meeting and said, you know what, let's just pull everything Trek out of what we've done and see if we still have stories. And we did. We still had good stories. So we said, let's do some. Yeah, thanks, Shadow. So I said, let's do some world building then. Let's create a universe inside of which you could reside. You could put these stories. Let's put them to work, and it all worked out. It worked out really well. In fact, we created the kind of universe that allows us to tell stories that you probably couldn't tell in Star Trek because of its utopian nature. And now the universe we're in is it's utopian on the surface, but it's got a darker underbelly to it, and there's something going on just below the surface, so that we can get into that kind of stuff, and we can do some metaphor, some allegory about current events and how things are going a little weird and sideways, and why that is, and so that's where we're at.
Well, the one thing, like, I've always stood by is Star Trek works. Star Trek has always been, a good story that just happened to be, that Star Trek wrapper. It didn't necessarily need Star Trek. You could take the same story and drop it over in like a hospital setting, and the story would still work. Or you could take it in a World War II setting, and the story would still work.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily need that, Star Trek universe setting, and you were, I think, the only person that did go, hey, guidelines, CBS, fuck you, and take it and go. I mean, you did. While all
we're
of us
the only
were
ones
waiting,
that did that, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, you are. While we were still waiting for Van Sitters to kind of give us guidance, you were. I mean, for good or bad. I mean, I know I looked at that and I was like, I'm not touching this dude with a 10-foot pole. I was scared because I was, man, this guy's gonna,
I went rogue. Oh no, I went rogue.
I mean, realistically, it's all of us were kind of sitting there, kind of, twiddling our thumbs, like, we'll wait for, guide. And you were like, no, fuck that. I'm not, no, fuck. Because realistically, all of us were.
I'm out.
We were
playing these games. I didn't want to.
Yeah, we were pissed. All of us were pissed, and I think realistically we were too afraid to say anything about it. At least I was, because it's like, it's one of those things
people
where
that know me know I'm not afraid to say jack shit, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go, well, this is fucked up.
Yeah,
and this is stupid. You realize we were a week out from flying out to Oklahoma to shoot Challenger. We were 1 week away. I had to reimburse people for plane tickets, dude, out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
Don't think that didn't pinch. So I took all the uniforms that I had made. Joe Kresman made all these beautiful uniforms. They were gorgeous. Man. Everything tailored for everybody. All the props that we bought, and we got everything. And I got my hands on, the Saurian brandy bottles. I built tons of prop replicas. We had our tricorders and our phasers. We were stocked up for missions, man. We had all of it. And I sold everything. I think I've got a phaser, a communicator, and a tricorder left, just so I can look at it and go, boy, that was dumb.
Nostalgia.
And but I sold the rest, and we took that money and we built sets. I found these really cool looking jackets that you could order off of Walmart.com and modified them. So everything, the uniforms came off the rack, and we just added patches and whatever flourish that they needed, and black slacks and boots, man. That was it. And we started cranking up again.
Well, the thing I like about, because I did watch after I talked with Craig, who does some of your CGI, the visual effects for some of your stuff. Because you also do something that's odd. For modern, most people just use CGI. You use both CGI and practical models. Am I correct? Yeah. But when I talked with Craig, he really upsold what he does for you guys and pushed, and that really made me go, well, let me take another look at this, because we haven't spoken in years. because social media and dumb shit and whatever the case may be. And I was like, let me talk to this dude again, because I've not reached out and I haven't seen anything, and let me look at this. And I looked at the Outer Rim and I was like, man, this really has the look of it kind of has a TOS meets Battlestar Galactica-esque vibe. Like this is nice. This is crafty, and I was very happy with what I was looking at and going, man, this has a you feel familiar, but yet it doesn't, and it's kind of like what Renegades did when I think they're the only other one, but I mean, they of course had a budget, they had, professional actors. You didn't.
Well, we got sweepers done for $3,000. We spent $3,000. Of course, I had to build everything from scratch.
But I was going to say you're not like super professional. Like, I mean, they had like Tim Russ, and they had like, I mean, they had like, Paramount people, I mean, if anyone's seen your makeup, they would know that you're not professional, like Hollywood. But I mean, you guys do. I mean, anyone's seen your makeup, it's like, man, that's damn good, because you do some really good makeup. And again, you're kind of a jack of all trades. You build stuff, you do makeup, you do.
Well, I caught the theater bug in high school, and I was a big fan of. I'll tell you what films really blew my mind was. I'm sorry, I got my dog bugging me here for.
You are good. You're good.
My dog
man.
is bugging me for beef jerky here. Hang on.
If I was there, I'd be doing the same shit, man.
And she's a bottomless pit. Come here. Come here. Up. Come on. Good girl. All right, there we go. Where was I? Oh, the film that blew my mind was Planet of the Apes when I was a kid. And I was like, I got to figure out how to do makeup like that. And I spent ages trying to wrap my head around. Of course, back then it was all, Starlog magazine and Famous Monsters of Filmland and that kind of stuff. It was all, you had to look this stuff up in magazines. There was no internet or any of that. No. So I had to do a lot of homework to figure it out, and I had to fuck up a lot before I figured it out.
Right.
And I found these things. There was this one toy store not far from me that every Halloween they would set up a whole area for theatrical makeup, and they had these things called the Face. And they were the first publicly available latex appliances. Mm-hmm. And they came out with one that was an ape. Well, the appliance sat on the mold. So I took that mold and I started slush casting ape makeup out of that thing. Now they weren't, form fitting; they were hollow cast. But I started working like that, and so I learned how to apply the appliances and blend them in and all of that. And so I was able to hone those skills on my own without anyone teaching me how. And it was all trial and error. And then Star Wars came out, and I went, well, I got to learn how to build models like those. Those are cool. So again, I started learning how to kit bash and all of that. And I was already building all kinds of airplane and car models and battleships and stuff like that. So I took every model I built and smashed all of them and started yanking parts out of them and stick this bottle to this box and this thing to that, and then put all the greeblies all over it. And so again, it was all trial and error.
Well, that kind of kit bashing that you're talking about, like that's like looking at your ship that you have, like that's part of the beauty of, like, when you look at like the first Alien movie, and it like you're looking at something and you're like, what am I exactly looking at? And you're not sure because there's all these little pieces and like I think that's something that we've lost in like modern CGI. Like everything looks kind of glossed over and everything looks kind of
everything's a little too slick.
Exactly.
It lacks, and bless you, it lacks that it lacks that lived in look. It lacks that mechanical kind of look, I think, in many cases. And that's the nightmare that I'm putting Craig through right now. Is he's going, well, you want how much of a percentage do you want on my models that matches? I'm going, I want your models to look like my models. Yeah. And he's going,
Yeah, no, you are a perfectionist. Like that is the one thing about you. Like you are what you are. No, it has to be exact like that. Like 100% has to be like you.
I
There is no.
said, look, brother, I'm going to send you detailed photos of everything. And so first build it just like I do. First start with the basic form and then look at each one of these greebly pieces and build those and stick them on like you're building a real physical model.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can get 90%, I can live with that. You know, we'll here
He
we
needs
go.
that jerky. He needs that jerky. You're holding out on that.
No. If a field mouse farts 2 blocks away, these guys go off. I'm sorry. You know what?
It's all
We're
good.
going down. We're going down to the shop because they don't
It's all
like to
good,
go
man.
down the basement stairs, and it's quieter down there. Oh,
It's all
it's
good,
because
man.
Mama pulled in the yard. Okay, hang on. We're heading downstairs. We might as well go down since we can look at them. Might as well.
There you go.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure if I can flip this camera around using this format, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kick on the light here because I've got a few sitting here. There we go. And I'm just going to turn the camera on these for a moment.
Sure. Oh, wow. Yeah.
This here is the Ursa Maru. And this is the ship that's going to be in the new show we're going to shoot called Mother. It's a shipping vessel. One thing you'll notice about all my ships is our warp drive is a little different. See how they're on either side of the ship there?
Uh-huh.
It's called a split ring quantum drive. A little invention of my own.
Uh-huh.
And might as well kick some lights on while I'm down here. And so that's kind of the look I want from all of the ships that are in our little universe.
Mm.
So that's what we're trying to do right now. So you'll find that when you see most of the ships you'll see in my show, they all have that split ring drive.
Well, I like to, like I said, the thing that I liked most about the design of your ship was the fact that it didn't look, you know, because when you do go to the Star Trek stuff, and forgive me if I'm comparing too much to Star Trek.
No, that's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. Let's face it. I mean, we started out as a Trek fan film, and I'm not going to kick that away.
But I think
it seems unkind to do that. You know, I mean, that was where we started.
But I love the fact, like my favorite sci-fi, and people kind of take a look, kind of like a double take. Like what? When I tell them that my favorite sci-fi series is the remake of Battlestar Galactica, they're like, wait, what? Because I mean that to me is my favorite Star Trek is Deep Space Nine, because I think the storytelling in that is leaps and bounds above everything else.
Well, it was rougher, tougher, more gritty, more edgy, more out
exactly.
there. Yeah.
Well, it's like
the first season bothered me because
it
was to boldly sit and wait for it all to come to us.
Plus, you had the Calamarain episode where it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, no. But I mean, when you talk about, it's kind of like you were talking about, where it's like, you know, you have the perfect utopia on the surface, but then underneath you have all these kind of shades of gray, kind of bullshit going on. Like, wait, what? You know, it's not the perfect utopia that you have over in Picard stuff.
Exactly.
But when you talk about a better series, the remake of Battlestar Galactica, I would argue, is better than DS9. I feel personally. But when I look at your models of the ships, it reminds me so much of the kind of ruggedness that Battlestar Galactica, the remake, had. Now, I never watched the classic Battlestar, so nobody crucify me at home, please. Don't.
I grew up on that, so
see, and so did my partner Frank. He did too. He loved it. You know, I've got the remake uniform because I'm gonna put that in one of my fan films. He's got the classic jacket of the Viper. So I mean, we're both Battlestar fans. But looking at your models, I love the fact that instead of screaming, Star Trek, it kind of leans more toward the Battlestar. Like, so instantly it's like, man, you want to watch it because what is this about? And like we were talking about earlier, like it has that kind of ruggedness of like the first Alien film. The what is on the ship? What does all these parts do? You want to see a diagram because you're like, what does all this stuff do? And
Right.
I love that. I love that. So real quick, let's go before we continue further. Let's look at some of these pictures here. Actually, let's look at the video and then we'll look at some pictures because you actually took us on a little tour. It's about a 30-second video, so let's look at that real quick and then we'll look at
Sure.
some pictures because I'm very excited. This is some good stuff here. So let's look at the video real quick. See, and that just
I
makes
do
you
like
want
my
to
blinky lights. Yeah.
see. That just makes you want to go in and be like, "Oh, I want to go play." Like that just looks fun. I mean, it's just it just looks fun. So
Well,
here,
that's what I wanted. I'll tell you what was really neat
oh,
about that set was we had a couple of special needs kids. This lady found out what we were up to, and she dropped by the set, and well, she came first without the kids and said, "Would it be okay to bring the kids?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, bring them." And so she did, and they wanted to flip every switch and press every button. I was like, "Go nuts, you guys! You can't break this thing." I mean, I make my sets pretty tough. You can play with them; they're meant to be used. And I'm all about scratch and dent. It's no big deal. And so they had a ball. These two kids, they had a blast. It was a lot of fun. And it was exactly what I wanted to see. Just the reaction I needed to see to know that that what we were doing was right, and that it was hitting all the right cylinders, and that it was nice. It was really cool to see these kids enjoy the hell out of it like they did.
no, right on, man. Yeah, it like I said, it looks like a lot of fun, especially when you kind of get the full scope of where you're going, and you sit there and you can see that people can get the full. It's not just like claustrophobic. Okay, don't move. You can actually you got some room to kind of breathe in there, and there is some movement to it. It looks like a lot of fun to sit there and do the story.
Well, and Henry Gibbons, the guy that designed the Audrey, he had to kind of build his ship around my set. You know what I mean? So that inside and out, it would all make sense. So there's that row of windows that runs down either side of the ship, and the flight deck sticking out of the front. And so he had to figure out, how does that look from the outside? And we do have that opening shot of the Audrey where we fly right into the flight deck through the window, and we're in the flight deck and down and right down the middle of the scanning room. And so it all had to make sense. And so poor Henry, he had his work cut out to make sure that everything lined up, and it did, and that was great. Now that the scanning room, we took that and we did a redress of it for the break room, which is further down the length of the ship on that same deck, but there's an airlock in between those two areas in the model. But all we did was just take the scanning room, pull all the equipment out, put a table and chairs in, and a coffee machine and a refrigerator and that kind of stuff.
A redress.
Right. So that it would look right. And then a bunch of junk on the table, and of course we had like sandwiches and drinks laid out and all of that. So that would all make sense, and it wouldn't occur to you that you were looking at the exact same room again.
See,
So it was a pretty easy redress.
See, that's the type of thing that, you know, uh, people think you need like 15 rooms to do something like that. But the way you do a smart set is, it's like over there, the planton on my wall. It's you take it off, you take certain things off, and you figure out how you can redress something. And that what you're describing, most people don't realize you redress the same thing 15 different ways so you can get the maximum amount with the one space. A breakaway set is something, or redressing a set is
Well, I
something
tend to
you
make
can
everything
do.
modular anyway, like that, because when it's time to tear it all down and put it away, I don't want that to be a 3-day event.
Right.
We took that when we were done. We took that set down in 2 hours and had it put away.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours, and we
Yeah.
were out. It was
Yeah.
great. The stage was clear. See, we shoot in the summertime, well, until COVID hit. I've been building sets for ages for this opera house a couple towns over. And they've got a gigantic stage and a big lighting grid above it. And in the winter, they go dark because it just costs too much to heat a big old building like that in the winter. So they bring the heat down to about 50 degrees so that the pipes don't burst. And they just shut everything down. They tape up all the windows. They shrink it, all the windows and doors, and they just button up for the winter. So I got with the village of Enosburg. It's the Enosburg Opera House. I went over there and I said, I sat down and I basically gave them a pitch meeting. And I showed them some of the stuff we were planning on doing. And I reminded them that I'm the lead set guy for the theater group that works out of that theater. And I donate all my time. And they're like, all right, okay, we'll let you shoot there. So they did. And we've got a good relationship going now. And most of the sets are stored over there because every flat that I build does double duty in the summertime. Every flat that I build ends up being in a musical or something during the summer and into the fall. All of that stuff gets used. And of course, I built it. I use it. So I take advantage of that so that everything I spent our budget on ends up volunteering itself over to other productions. So it's a nice trade-off. Mm-hmm. So we swung a good deal.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Well, it is. And so we build our sets right on the stage under the lighting grid. And when you pull that grand drape, you've got a little sound stage back there. And when the lights kick on, you're warm as toast. So we don't even have to, we've got the only rooms we have to heat are the makeup and dressing rooms and the kitchen. And of course the stage heats itself. So, and everything else is a little chilly. Wear a sweater, and we're just fine.
So you've got the whole thing just basically kind of taken care of.
We've got a huge opera house all to ourselves. We got hot set signs everywhere. So if people do walk in, they're like, oh,
See, that's got to be a huge weight off your shoulders as opposed to like a lot of other places where they have to worry about storage space and because I know that's something that's been a huge headache for a lot of other places where it's like storage space. What do you do? Fighting hassles, and you guys have that taken care of. And that's impressive. That's very cool. Yeah. And plus they get to.
I can't remember if I sent you the video from our Challenger shoot where I'm kind of showing how we're using that set.
No. I
wish I'd sent you that because it shows how we took the bridge set from Challenger and it breaks down and we can move walls around and create other parts of the ship.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You have to send me that because like that's one of the things like I love looking at behind the.
I'm just letting Jody know her phone's ringing over here. So.
Oh, okay.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We're cool.
Like I love looking at behind the scenes stuff because it's one of those things where, I mean, obviously you've been on several bridge sets, you've been on several sets in general, and especially being theater and whatnot. Like when you start seeing how stuff's built, you start getting inspiration for how would I do this differently? How would I make this myself? And and then you get to take that and go do it. Like you were talking about with. Like the Planet of the Apes, makeup, you said that and you're like, okay, trial and error. I'm going to do this and make it my own. Same thing with the ships. You did that and you made it your own. And I think that's part of the not just for filmmaking, but just creative people. That's a sign of creative people where, they look at something, they're like, okay, how can I reinterpret this to be something unique? Because it's like that's part of our DNA. We feel the need to go do that.
That's just my Asperger's working, is what it is, because I tend to think out of the box like that.
Yeah.
And I tend to look at something and problem solve. I'm constantly noodling all the time. I'll get a new project, and I always tell someone who hands me the project, you got to give me 3 or 4 days to noodle on it. Mm-hmm. And what I do is I rattle it around up here. Mm-hmm. And then when I go to build it, it's already been built up here. From start to finish, it's been built in my head. So then I can just leap on it like a panther and just attack it and get it and get the job done. And I've always worked like that. Like I said, it's just how my particular brand of Asperger's works. And it works for me. And you can see I get stuff done. So,
well, you definitely know what you want. Like, I mean, like I said, you were the only one, outside of like Renegades. But again, I don't really consider them like, I mean, when you have that many professional people, that I don't consider
well,
that
yeah,
fan.
they have that advantage. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I had the advantage of many, many years of stagecraft. So that kind of put me ahead of the curve a little bit there. When the guys out there where you are first got their hands on the old Exeter set, I saw that pop up in the old Trek BBS, and I started talking to everybody, and they started posting pictures when they got the sets out to El Reno at the airport out there, and they started posting pictures of the condition this was in. And I looked at it, and I said, "Get some pictures of behind it." And let's see, what the bones are like. Are the bones still good? And they were. And I said, listen, guys, if you're not against it, I'd love to fly out and see what I could do to have a look at these, and maybe we can recondition them or do a rebuild on them. And just looking at the pictures, I said, all right, you're going to need to order this much MDF. You're going to need to order this much strapping. You're going to need some 2x2. You're going to need this, that, and the other. And then we shot a bunch of video that was kind of like this old Starship. And I was like, Norm, going, well, you got some rot over here, and this is all going to get taken out, and we're going to save this old piece, cut a template, and match it up to the. And so we did all of that, and I got them going. And then in the midst of all of it, John Hughes said, let's. This is a 3/4 bridge. What do you think about doing a full 360? I said, you can totally do it. Just take measurements off what you've got, figure it out. And they did. And that's
what
when
year?
Scott Johnson got into it. It was
What
shortly
year was
after
this?
I left. And
What
him
year
and
was
his
this?
crew moved right in and just started kicking ass. And when I came back the following year, here's a full 360 bridge. All we had to do is make the additional control stations that had to get dropped into place. So the whole time I was there the second time around was just sitting around casting jewel buttons and cutting out black plexiglass or clear plexiglass, spraying the back of it black so you had that glossy front, and
Mm-hmm.
drilling the holes in the right place, hot gluing everything down. And
And what,
and
Scott
so we had
Johnson
a
says,
whole lot of fun putting the finishing touches on that set. And God, it was glorious. And then we started talking about Starship Ajax and talking about how much Jody looked like Lauren Goodwin, but an older version of her.
mm-hmm.
And John Hughes, his deal breaker was he had to have Colt.
Yeah,
He had to have Colt. And I sat and
yep.
had some lengthy conversations about, well, do you want her to be a yeoman? What if she's worked her way up the ranks and now she's reached the level of XO on the Ajax? Maybe she's in charge of security, because she came off pretty tough in the cage. And I thought, what if she's your head security officer and she's kind of a badass, kind of a Ripley? And he was like, yeah, let's do that. And so we plugged her right in, and she did fantastic. And it's just unfortunate we never got to finish that up. But all of the test footage we shot, she looked great, man. And it looked like it was going to go somewhere. It really did. And so we shot some footage. There's this great shot. I forget the guy's name, and he's going to help me. Maybe Scott knows. But there's this guy. There's a shot we've got of her. She's got him in the turbo lift, and she's got a hold of him. Got him like this, and she's slamming him into the wall of the turbo lift. And he's like, Jesus, lady.
Yeah, I think the guy's in a blue uniform. I've seen the footage. Like
No, he had a winter jacket on. It was wicked cold
it?
when we shot it. It was like January, February. It was still cold out there. And we were like, we need something on you that looks weird. Turn your coat inside out. What does it look like? Well, it looked just weird enough. And we put it back on him inside out. And she's just roughing him up.
Oh, that's right.
And he looks like, holy shit.
That's right, because Michael had a blue uniform. That's right, because this is pre-Valiant days. That's right. I remember. Okay, yeah, that's right. I remember that. And so Scott says that's when he first met. What year exactly was this, give or take? Because Scott's asking.
It's like 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like 9 years ago. Yeah, some of that is still on Valiant's channel. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's video of Jody sitting at the weapons station. She was her station was on the starboard side, just past Science, the next station down from Science, on the starboard side, and we recreated as best I could from whatever pictures I could find. We recreated that weapons station that they had on the Exeter. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Good times, man. We had a lot of fun. We pulled together a real good bunch of
They,
people. That was that second visit where I got to meet Michael King, and he did a thing for his channel, and he and I had a nice talk, and
you,
uh and after meeting him, I said we got to cast him as our science officer. He's great.
you guys were
Um,
pioneers back in the day. I've seen like going through the footage you guys had of that because I think that was an Ajax project if I'm not mistaken because
yep,
it was an away mission where I think Jody takes command of the ship after that for the
yeah,
because again I was going to take that footage and turn it into something
yeah.
for like a flashback um and then I think I was taken off the footage of that folder or something. I'm not sure what happened to the footage, but like I was gonna do something with it because I really wanted to do something with that footage. But like I was just looking at all that stuff and I was like, man, this is a treasure trove. Like this is a blast from the past. Like you guys are pioneers of the early days of Starbase Studios. Like this, like I was so blessed to just look at the
To be
footage.
able to
And
walk
I
into
had
it, yeah, yeah,
dude,
it was real seat of the pants kind of stuff. It really
I
was.
had
We didn't know what we were doing.
oh my
We had
goodness.
so much to learn. We were cocksure and thought, the world was
It,
our oyster.
it,
And
it
those
was good.
first test shoots though were just, I don't want to say they were a disaster. It was just that we weren't prepared.
You guys were doing
We
you guys were
weren't
starting
better
off and you didn't
prepared
know.
to pull off what we wanted to do. We had big plans. I mean, we're going to do a big location shoot that was supposed to be a scientific encampment on this Gorn planet. The whole story came out of this comic book story that we took it and turned it up to 11, where there's this scientist who's been stealing relics from a Gorn burial planet, and the Gorn show up because what they didn't realize was every 100 years or so, this planet goes through this volcanic activity like clockwork and burns everything on the surface of the planet. So they bring their dead there to be cremated. And they have all these stone carvings that go with their dead and stuff. And that's what the scientist was finding and was stealing. And the Gorn were pissed about it. And there was going to be this great scene where this female Gorn beams aboard the Ajax, and Colt runs down there to stop her, and they get into a fight, and one of those just before the commercial moments where the Gorn tears through the door of the transporter room, this kind of thing, and has broken her arm and her ribs and stuff, broken Colt's ribs and arm, and she gets pretty pounded on. And then the captain has to go down and make amends as this heat wave is sweeping across the planet. He has to do a ritual to make things right again, and he gets beamed out at the last possible second. He's slightly crispy when he gets back. He's got some first and second degree on him, and his uniform is pretty torched up, and I mean he's smoldering when he comes out of the beam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had quite a story. We had
Yeah.
quite a story, and I wish we could have told it. I really do. It was a lot of fun. It was high adventure. There's this great moment where you've got everyone is away at a meeting, and you've got Helm and Nav are kind of tending the bridge. Everyone else is at a meeting, and suddenly all the alerts go off, all the sensors go off, and these two kids, they run to the science station and they look and they pull the reading up, and it shows all these goddamn ships are coming, and there's this great scene where they're looking at the readout, and then they're looking at the screen, and it's like, well, how many Gorn are there? And the guy, he looks down in the viewer and he looks up again, and he turns to the screen and goes, all of them. It's like, all of them. It's just a great moment, and it was super dramatic. We got that shot. That's somewhere. I don't know who's got it now, but that scene got shot, and it looked great.
See, is Scott, if you can find out who has the footage, like we need to get that. Like we need to turn that into something because like I would love I'd love to do something with that because like again I saw the footage at one time. I don't know where it's at now. Like I said I'd love to do something with that footage because it seemed like a lot of fun.
I'm sure
Um,
it's sitting on a drive or a card somewhere.
yeah, someone
It's
has
got to be
it.
sitting somewhere, unless someone wrote over it. I hope they didn't, because that
I
was
did too.
some good
Yeah,
stuff.
it was history.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, we had
history.
husband and wife doctors too. That was another cool thing. We had two doctors running the med department, and they were really husband and wife too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were gonna be great. They were gonna be just super. So much stuff that got away from us. It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Cox was our evil scientist, and he was burying himself in the role. It was great. He uh, he he won that role in a heartbeat when he read
Mhm.
for it. It was like, oh yeah, you're our bad guy, and he went for it. He really did. He chewed up the scenery. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, you could tell you guys were having like you guys like the bloopers you guys had. You guys were having fun, and that's the thing. Like a lot of the fan films like they're very by the book. They're very but you guys could tell like yeah
Very
exactly.
procedural. Yeah,
Yeah, but you guys could tell that you guys were having fun. You guys could tell, both in front of you could
yeah,
tell that the characters were having fun. You could tell that the actors were having fun, and that's like I miss I, as much fun as I'm having now. I miss those days of like, man, let's go. The early days, again, and
yeah.
those were days before I came along, because that I didn't come along till late 2013, early 2014. So I mean, this predates me, and I'm looking at this going, man, this set the foundation for what I stepped into, and I love just watching this going, this I'd so love to have that, just to be able to get, make an homage to what you guys did and be like, hey, this is, since you guys couldn't complete it, this is my gift to you guys, because you guys set literally the foundation for everything that we've done, for fan, at least for my personal foundation for what we've done. Like you guys had so much fun, and it's a shame, even though I was happy to watch The Outer Rim. It's a shame that story for Starship Ajax could never be completed, because, like Scott
Yeah,
said
it's
earlier, you guys
unfortunate.
had a
It
great
really
script.
is. Well, that's why we changed Colt's name to Cage. See what I did
Mm-hmm.
there? So now she's Rhonda Jean Cage,
Mm-hmm.
um, and she's a similar character, probably a little tougher even,
Mm-hmm.
because she
She
really
got that
goes through
Ripley.
hell.
She's got that Ripley
She
vibe.
loses her ship, she loses her crew. She's ordered by her captain to kill him because
Mm-hmm.
she's got to destroy the ship that he's on in order to stop a much larger disaster from happening. And this leaves a mark that's going to follow her for the rest of her career. I mean, it's going to leave a mark here. And so what it becomes is a PTSD story, which is something we really need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that have seen some shit, and
Right.
and it's left its mark. And so we want to go over that. So the kind of story we're telling is this admiral that is pushing her back out there is a real get back on the horse kind of guy. And
Well,
and
let's
so he's
let's
sending her out there, and she's going, I really think I could do better work at the academy teaching. I'd rather instruct. He's going, yeah, but putting you behind the podium would be a disservice to everybody, especially you. You need to get back out there. Well, she's broken, and no one realizes just how broken she is until she gets out there and begins to unravel. And she's been sent on a deep, deep exploration mission looking for some, quote, old friends. Okay. And when you find out who the old friends are, you're going to be like, oh, wow, cool. And I'm not saying anything more than that, but we've got a really neat surprise in store about who the old friends are. No, I can't say any more than that. As tempting as it is, I'm dying to say, but I can't say.
so
But
we gotta keep tuning in.
it's going to become a case of her cheese slides off her cracker way far from home, and now her XO and her doctor have to deal with it, and she's dealing with an XO whose butt hurt because he didn't get the big chair, and
The
she,
power
in the
struggle.
first episode, she pins his ears back pretty good after he asses up on her in the middle of a tough situation. He decides that's a good time to ass up on her, and it doesn't go well for him. She does not suffer foolishness at all, and so he gets a couple good reamings out in the course of his deleteriousness.
So
We've
you keep
got
talking.
a really good doctor. He's an older gentleman. He's
You
a
keep
little
talking. I'm gonna while
crusty.
you're talking. You keep talking while you're talking. I'm gonna show some of these pictures while you're
Oh,
describing some of
okay,
these things, so
okay.
the audience can.
We've got a really good doctor who's a little crusty. We've got a huge modern ship that's like a prototype for what future vessels are going to look like. We've got an interesting alien crew. Our our Keldarans are kind of like a cross between the Andorians and the Vulcans. Our Ursans, well, they're from the Ursa Major region, but they're more or less a rock people. So they look like chiseled stone. We've got another race. God, the name of the race just jumped right out of my head here. But endemic to their race, these people, they can absorb static electricity and store it, and then discharge it later as needed in a number of different ways, from setting up a static charge and zapping on the back of your ear, to vaporizing someone, to creating a large force field and blocking incoming fire. I mean, just whatever we need that person to do, we'll just say that that's endemic to their abilities, and they can do that. And we've got a somewhat corrupt corporate fleet that is on the surface doing good works, and behind the scenes very creepy and very boy, it's hard to describe, very nefarious, I would say. And all of that is beginning to leak out from story to story. Another thing we've been doing is at the end of each episode, we drop a little Marvel moment after the credits. So it's wise to sit through the credits, because right as the credits finish, there's a little Marvel moment that sets up the next story. And so that's something that we have been doing and continue to do. And we've shot a number of those Marvel moments. Those are all done and just waiting to get plugged in.
Mm-hmm. So, setting up this universe that you have, you talk about kind of a corruption going on, a story element with corruption.
Well,
And
the
you talk about,
corporations run the government.
mhm. Again, talking about like real world type
Right.
situations that go on. There's a lot of parallels, a lot of a lack of hope for modern.
Oh no, on the surface there's all kinds of hope. It
Oh,
appears to be a utopia. It
I
appears to be.
appears.
No one owns anything and they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar?
Oh, absolutely,
No one owns
absolutely.
anything and they're happy.
So going to this type of story that you felt to tell. What made you want to do? What made you want to open up to be that type of story? Because to me, I always write the type of stories where I write what I know. When they watch a Menard story, it's pretty much, hey, this is basically kind of my life reinterpreted and put into Star Trek. This is my experience with this. Maybe a little flavor thrown in. Because obviously I'm not transporting. We're flying around a starship, but it's this is me put over here. Is that similar with what you have done
Well,
with this?
one of the things that I've always felt and I think this is a common idea, is that science fiction has always been an excellent vehicle to discuss current events.
Yes.
And to examine those events in an interesting and new way with a bit of a twist, set in a different time. And then you can look at a much broader realm of possibilities in doing that. And science fiction is excellent for that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what are our current worries right now? What are our concerns? What are the future possibilities of our world if we went down certain paths? And that's kind of what we're trying to cover here. If we went down this certain path, we could end up in this situation. Now let's throw aliens into the mix. Let's throw other cultures into the mix. Let's throw aliens that have an agenda into the mix.
Mental health issues.
No, let's throw mental. Thank you, Jody. Let's throw
Perfect.
mental health
Yes.
issues into the mix.
Yes.
Let's throw sociological things. Let's take all of that stuff and throw it in there. Let's throw bigotry. Let's throw racism. Let's all of that stuff. Let's throw it in there.
Well, it's a great way.
But Daddy has to do this. You gotta see this.
Well, hello. Well, it's science fiction. You're absolutely right. It's a great way to, at least for some people, start the conversation where normally they're off limit topics. Going back to look at Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone was very good at doing, starting topics where they'd be off limits for people at the time, couldn't even approach them. Looking at today's society, a lot of people can't talk politics or religion. Those are two topics where it's like, nope, off limits. Whereas what you're talking about, it's like these are very out there topics of, corruption's very much out there today, and it's scary for a lot of people. Especially
it really
people
is.
Especially people who have kids. It's scary because what we're leaving the next generation, no pun intended. I think we're all scared. I think at the end of the day, we're all good people, and a lot of us are scared. Even people who are on opposing sides, we're still good people, but we may just disagree. But I think science fiction is a great way to kind of help meet in the middle and at least friendly discuss those terms. I think it's a very interesting thing you're doing. That has some interesting characters and dynamics to your show. Much different, but yet similar to what Trek had done. I like what you've got. I think it's great.
I think we can go somewhere with it. A while ago, a couple of years ago, when we were kind of rolling all of this over into this new universe, we had Hulu sniffing around. They were following us on Twitter, and that lit a fire. Let me tell you. They've since stopped following because we kind of hit a wall a while back because of everything that happened with COVID and all of that mess, and then production just kind of went, But I'm hoping that we can get their attention again at some point. Them or Netflix. I mean, they're always looking for content, and I'm looking at half the crap that they're airing now is like, we can outdo this with the stories we've written. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
We've got really nice stories.
Yeah. So Scott asks, ask Jim, can we discuss the upcoming shoot next year? Crew also, such as DP and sound? I take it there's something there that I'm missing?
Well, we've got Cole and Donna Clark, who helped with Star Trek New Voyages, do sound. Donna actually is going to do some acting in Mother. She has a role in Mother. She's playing a former Section 51 operative who is working on her brother's shipping vessel, helping out. It's not Section 50, it's Department 51. Okay. Wink, nod, yeah. Right.
No, but between you and me is and that nobody at home, like, because most people won't even know what I'm talking. Is Mother? Is this basically the same script that I had read years ago? What you were talking about, just kind of swapped over.
Well, in the Star Trek universe, the ship was always the Ursa Maru. That's the name of that dog, by the way. Her name is Ursa because she's a big bear.
There you go.
But in the original version, Donna Martin, who's the wife of Captain Robbie Martin, she was a scientist that worked with the Daystrom group. And she was working on the M5 project. She saw merit in the project, and it was just unfortunate that Dr. Daystrom was nuts, and he was using his damaged brain engrams to operate the M5 computer. And she came to the realization that was the only real problem with the project, that good, viable brain engrams could make the project work correctly. And so she was continuing his work on board the Ursa Maru. She had a little lab set up, and she was working on that. And then, well, here's how the story goes: is that this is all in the Star Trek universe that this happens. Okay, they're attacked by Orion pirates. The ship gets raided. She's mortally wounded, and she has her father-in-law and her kids run her up to her lab before she perishes. And they download her mind into the mainframe. And now the ship is a character. Donna runs the daily operation of the ship. She is the Ursa Maru. And now they just refer to her as Mom. That's what the computer's called now, is Mother. So in our new universe, rather than bring up Daystrom and all of that stuff, we just refer to it as your mom's AI experiments.
Okay.
So she has a lab. She's a scientist. She's been doing all this stuff. And again, she downloads into the mainframe and she runs the whole show. Only now at this point, I'm wondering, in future stories, can we start to put holographic projectors all over the ship so that Donna can show up in person, not just her voice over the speaker, but an image of her can show up in different places around the ship.
Right.
So that's an idea that I've been entertaining, and I'm pretty much resting on that as an eventuality as we go from episode to episode, that will build to that moment. And it'll be a real emotional moment for Robert, because this is his wife back from the dead. Well, she doesn't ever really die, though, because what makes Donna is now residing inside the ship.
Right. But still, the physically seen, I mean, that's still got to be kind of an overwhelming, like,
it'd be a very emotional moment, a very emotional episode, yeah. In a special episode of
Now, question: will the holographic be one you pass through and you still can't connect, or will it be one
for starters? But as her son and her father-in-law continue to work on it, they're going to refine it, make it better, continue to work on it, and as the story progresses, it'll get bigger, better, more solid. It'll start with, there's a room you can go into, and there's Mom, and you can hug her. And then they're going to figure out, how can we get this to happen all over the ship, and then how can we create a remote emitter that she can then, like the doc. Please state the nature of your medical emergency. Exactly.
See, this is the good thing about storytelling. That sadly, most sci-fi don't take the time to gradually get there. They just speed through it and there we go. And that's not fun.
I want to take my time with this. It's important to really take our time with it, because it's about how, and both their kids are on the autism spectrum too. So it's how are they coping with all of this, with their already special needs currently right out in front.
Right.
How are they handling the physical loss of their mother? But she's still there,
Right. Well, and you talk about inclusion of, representation these days. That's something that I've always appreciated about the content of your work, is you always put that at the forefront and show, hey, here's this right here. Most people don't have that. They try to be, but usually it's just mimicking other people's work.
They get it wrong, and the reason they get it wrong is they don't have a place of experience from which they're telling the story.
Yeah.
The people that are trying, God bless them. They're trying, they're trying to tell these stories like The Good Doctor. That kid comes off as just or atypical. They get so much right, but then they get so much wrong. And the thing is, when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, okay? Because it's a spectrum. There's a reason why they say it's a spectrum, because everybody's a little different.
Different.
There are all these similarities, but everyone's got a different turn off and turn on. Everyone's got a different trigger. Everyone's got a different thing that sets them off. Everyone's got a like and a dislike. And autistic people are just as different as the rest of you normies.
Yeah,
and,
no, that's it. That's it.
And you got to get to know them just like you have to get to know any other human being on this planet or any other.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like you and me.
You and to get to know people.
Yeah, it's like you and me. You and I have different tastes and everything, and we're not the same, So Scott here is hounding me in the chat. Yeah. So Scott's hounding me in the chat. He says DP ? So let's go back to that real quick before we watch the final video.
I have it on good authority that we probably, if it'll fit in his schedule, we've got a really good director. We've got a really good director of photography. It's not locked down tight, but I'm not ready to talk about it. Sorry,
Scott. There you have it, Scott.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet until I have a 100% confirmation. I'm not going to put it out there. I'm saving that one. I'm saving that one.
Well, there we go.
But he's good. He's good.
Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah. I'll say this. You've seen his work before.
Oh.
And he really knows what he's doing, and he loves what we're doing, and he has voiced a desire to help us. But it all depends, because no one's getting paid, right? And he's a pro. So he's got to look at what's he going to get paid for and what's he not going to get paid for, and where will that fit in his schedule, and how will, So I can't say 100% whether this guy is in or out on our current project with our particular janky schedule.
Well,
so sorry, Scott. I'm not ready to shout it from the rooftops yet.
Well, our fingers will be crossed, and if we got to buy some beef jerky to kind of sway this guy over, you let us know, and we'll send some jerky his way.
He wants to help. He has voiced a desire to help. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of it all. It's all a matter of it all working out in such a way that it can happen. I'm not going to nail his foot to the floor. Not yet, anyway. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Jim Bray's coming out to help write this script. What? Huh? No, I said your script is interesting. I didn't say I was going to write it.
Right.
I already had a couple guys try and do that. I was like, whoa, slow your roll. I didn't say I was good. I said I've looked at it and it shows, promise, but that doesn't mean I'm going to direct your shit. Okay. So,
right on, man.
No, slow down.
Yeah, well, let's get to this.
That's right.
Well, let's get to this video that you
Hold
sent
on.
to me.
All I hear is ice cubes coming out of the chute here.
It's
okay. Again, please.
I said, let's get to this last video real quick, and then we will call it good for one. And this is about a 2-minute video, a minute and a half, 2-minute video. But I really enjoyed it, and this was This was done by Mouse, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say
Bill
he
Lutz.
did. Yeah, Bill Lutz. Yep. So real quick, here we go.
Hey everyone, this is Bill. We're working on editing Challenger for you right now, and right now we're doing a pivotal scene between Doc Martin and Commander Taggart. Why don't you take a look? Come on.
What I wouldn't give to have your strength and stamina, Mr. Taggart. As usual, you scored 100% in the stress and cardio exam. Your weight is up a bit. I take it you and Mr. Carmichael have been enjoying his home brew again. That stuff will make you fat. Oh. Now, it's vegetables, protein, and dietary weight loss supplements for 2 weeks. No more meat. Here's your exercise program and your meal card.
Come on, Doc. What I do in my off hours is my business.
No. When it affects your performance, it's my business. What's with the booze, Taggart?
No reason. Carmichael makes pretty good brew.
Yeah, I know. I've tried them myself. Secondary readouts show increased levels of stress and anxiety. Wait. You're still pissed off about the new captain, aren't you?
Yes, she's exactly my problem.
No, Adam,
You know I was supposed to get command chair after the captain.
Stop right there. We've been over this several times. She earned that chair. She lost her ship and her crew to a rogue Parkesh faction. You are not ready for this. You are not ready. Command has said as much. This behavior, this attitude, this is why you didn't get the big chair. And if you continue this nonsense, you never will.
I don't know, Doc.
Just a small taste. Just a small taste. Yep.
Well, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's
So-
Commander Butthurt.
So, like I said, Jim, when is the next? The first episode is in the description, and I recommend everybody, go watch it. Give it a thumbs up, comment on it. Go subscribe to the channel. That's also
Keep
in
in
the
mind, it
description.
was a first effort. It was a learn as you go kind of situation. But I think we got some pretty amazing stuff done in that first episode, and what we learned from shooting that, all of that rolled over into the next one, and the bar got raised. And every time we make another one, that bar raises again and again and again, every time. And so as we continue on, we want to continue to up the level of quality, the level of acting, all the levels get raised.
Well, the good thing about at least the fans on my page, like they're very forgiving when they see someone putting their heart into something. So
Sure.
and that's the thing is, again, like having seen you chat and knowing the thought process that goes into your stuff. I mean, you can see it. It's on the screen. You can see it in the actors. You can see it in the models. You can see it in the sets. It's not something where they can look at any one of those things and go, oh, this guy's kind of faking it. No one's gonna sit there and go, this guy's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, I love what you got. I love what you guys have done.
Thank you.
Especially considering you could have been one of the people, one of the many people who, when the guidelines came out, they took their ball, went home, was like, man, I'm gonna sit here and never do anything. You did something, and
My mama didn't raise no quitter.
No, I fucking loved it, man. I loved it. Now you guys have a GoFundMe. That link
Yes,
is
we do.
also in the description. If anybody,
and I'm gonna, you know me, I shoot from the hip. It's a little anemic right now. It is. We need some help, and I know it's close to Christmas. People are clutching those dollars. Things are tough right now, but it's pretty open ended. We're hoping to shoot sometime in March, but we're going to need at least 5 large to get going. At least to get Mother going. Anyway, I was hoping to raise double that so that we could also shoot out Sweepers 2 Whitechapel. But that might have to sit on the back burner a little while. But Mother's got to get done so that we at least have those big 3 that go under the outer rim tent.
so I have anybody watching in the chat, or anyone watching on the rewind. Here's my thing for you guys. Go to the description and either click on the channel, subscribe, click on the video that I sent for the first episode, watch it, get those views up, send a like, a comment, something to show support, because I tell you, the comments, the likes, the subscription, all those things just help motivate filmmakers.
Well, yeah, hit that algorithm hard, man.
Yeah.
Help us out, because hitting that algorithm hard is what beefs everything up.
And the thing is, the GoFundMe is there and will always be there in the description. You can always come back anytime, click on this video and go to the description, and the GoFundMe is not going anywhere. It's always going to be in the description. If you cannot donate, at least share the link, because sharing the link will take nothing. Share it to some people who have money. If you don't have it, I get that. Christmas time's here. COVID's hit. Jobs are not in abundance. I get it. But if you know someone that can, it takes 2 seconds to share the link. There's plenty of groups out there on Facebook. Maybe someone can say, hey, watch this video and here's a GoFundMe. Share the video. Share, maybe someone else that loves sci-fi is like, man, I love this series, and they don't know that the GoFundMe is there. Share
You know
both.
anyone that has disposable income and they don't know what to do with it? This is a good thing you can use it on. Seriously, because you're helping provide tons of entertainment for millions of people.
Exactly.
Well, thousands anyway right now, but I'm hoping later millions.
Well, well, at least you're not like Scotty.
I'm optimistic. I'll put it that way.
Well, Scotty, billions and billions and billions.
Billions and billions. Yes.
So the Outer Rim, a science fiction anthology web series. I think it's Scott that's on there. I'm not sure. But he says there will be an opportunity for extras. Contact us through our website or socials.
Can't wait for Scott to join the crew too.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. He's coming.
Big fan.
He's coming
Big
out.
Fan.
Yeah.
And that's Scott J. Smith, right?
No, Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson. Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
I'd still like to cast Scott Smith in something because he and I have acted together before, and he's good.
Big fan. Oh, dude, I too much respect for that guy. I love that guy. He is.
Yeah.
Man, love that guy.
Yeah.
But anybody, like I said, I would challenge anybody, no pun intended, challenge anyone to, go subscribe to the channel, share the video, bring as much attention to this series as you can, because again, all those things help. And if you can't donate, I get that, but these are good people. You can tell they put their heart into it.
I'll put it this way. We've got over 3K followers, okay? If every one of them dropped $5, what is that, a Starbucks coffee? If everyone dropped $5, we'd have a budget right there.
Yep.
We'd have more than we need.
Yeah.
So just a thought. Of course, Facebook kind of throttles my reach a little bit because I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But because I can't, I don't have the money to do this. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But if everyone dropped $5,
yeah. Well, even
5 times 3,000. What is that?
It's 15,000. Like you'd be good. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could knock out a bunch of work. Look, when you look at sweepers, you're looking at $3,000 from start to finish. Publicity and everything. Craft services, sets, costumes, all of it. $3,000.
Yeah, and that's
it.
That's what even something that is quote unquote low budget, it's still like it's not, even something like myself that is quote unquote no budget, like there's still something that goes into it. You still lose money, and I guarantee
gas money,
even on what you put for your GoFundMe, you still, I guarantee you personally are going to pay something out of pocket for what you do, because
always, it's just how it goes.
And that's because I know for me, even when I do a GoFundMe, I still pay out of pocket doing, something, because something always comes up.
Well,
so
if you've got a crew you're working with, you got to buy them sandwiches or something, or pizza.
Yeah.
You've got to pay an electric bill. I try to square things up with the theater whenever I can, as far as that kind of stuff goes. And a larger production with a big cast and crew runs on its stomach. You got to feed these people a little bit. Everyone's volunteering their time, their gas. Some of these guys are paying for their own hotel rooms to hang out here.
Yeah, no, that's exactly travel expenses, and when they're doing it out of their pocket, it's one of those things where it's like, no matter how big of a budget for a low budget, like you still pay out of your own pocket. So everybody, if you can, again, like I said, support these guys. William also
I end up making barbecue and shrimp creole and stuff for the gang. So, and that comes out of me because I love my folks, and I've got a great bunch of people, and none of them bring any drama.
Well, you treat them right.
We had a few people that brought drama, and we went bye-bye, and
that's the way to do it.
We showed them the airlock and hit the button, and now we've got a great bunch of folks that no one causes any trouble, and everyone's there to have a good time, and just all wonderful, lovely people who just all share in this excitement and what we're doing, and God, we have fun.
Oh, that's awesome. William
Yeah.
Will says he found it and he subscribed. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it, man. Try to share that. Try to share the GoFundMe if you can. Again, every little bit helps, and you never know if that the person you share or will be the person that's going to be like, hey, you know what? I got extra 200. Boom, there you go. Because
Yep.
for me that's helped me a lot. Grassroots has always helped. For me, and
I'm a big fan of that.
yeah, that's my bread and butter, But anyway, that being said, we're hour 15 in. I will let you get back to your life, my friend. But Jim, it's been years since we've talked. I don't want it to be years before we talk again.
You got it.
If there's anything I can do to help you on this project, in any capacity, please share with me, and I will get the word out.
Right now, the big need is fundraising.
Okay.
Fundraising is the big one right now. Everything else I've got a pretty good handle on from my end, but I suck at fundraising. I don't know what I'm doing. And if anyone out there does know and can help, please come and advise. Please.
Well, we will do everything we can to push the fundraiser and help you.
I appreciate that. I do.
And
because
we will continue
every penny of that budget gets spent on the show. None of that goes in my pocket ever.
And what is the goal that you're trying to reach?
Well, we're looking at from 7 to 10.
Okay.
But I was looking at doing 2 episodes, and I know that's what it says on the fundraiser right now. But now I'm starting to think that, beggars can't be choosers, and so I should probably see if I can raise enough to get Mother done, but leave that open so that it's a portal for money to flow into.
Well, that's what I did on my last one. I usually do a fundraiser for 1,000, but I went for 2 because I went for 2,000 on this last one because I not only wanted to do Star Trek fan films, but I expanded it to I'm going to do a Batman one and a Ghostbuster one, and then I wanted to do a few of my independent ones. So I opened it to 2, but I put on there that I'm only going to do it for 30 days, but I'll leave it open in case anyone wants to, because I knew we were approaching Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I didn't want to be a mooch and be like, hey, everyone give it to me. But I left it open in case, hey, I want to come back to it and say, hey, if anyone still wants to donate, here you go. So what you're doing is exactly right, saying, hey, I'm going to do this, but if you guys want to come back and do this later on, like it leaves it, I'm not a big fan of those ones that you have to have a certain amount of time or you got to give it back like that. I don't believe in that. I believe in, hey, seasons are hit and miss, like, especially with the holidays. People don't want to give it up. So what you're doing is very smart. And then, you can get X amount and be like, okay, we're going to do this. And now we can go back and still use that same one, it's very smart. And then grassroots, we're going to try to help you out, man, and see what we can do.
I do. I am grateful. I am.
So, all right, man, we're going to cut this out, and we will talk again before too long, and
Indeed,
we're going to see what we can do to help. So
enjoy your holidays.
You do the same, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Enjoy your holidays.
Absolutely. All right. Well, everyone in the chat, you guys be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.
Keep it real.